Good morning, all. As you know, this is Mike from SADT, and today I got a relatively short video. It's not going to be like real small, but it's going to be shorter than the last one I did. I have to cover a few things today, and the reason why it's so important to cover them is because there are some things going on in the world that I think you need to know about. I don't know if you know about them, but it's important that someone gets you this information. And because there's no real voices out here right now getting this type of information to you, it's very important that a person like me with the inside track gets that information to the people out here who are willing and wanting to hear it. Now, one of the things you need to focus on today is the fact that many of the videos coming out from a lot of these well-established channels are putting out things and kind of braggadocious in a way. They show you what they have, their land, their equipment, whatever, and they really don't tell you anything about how to get it yourself, what to do with it. They're not training you, they're not giving you advice about strategy and things like that. The ones that used to do it don't focus on that at all today. So it's important that you have a source like mine so you can get information that you need when you need it. Now, before I even get started good, I want to talk about a few things. And I want to tell you that at the end, I'm going to have a little special surprise for one of my most ardent supporters, a person who I know watches religiously every video that I put out. The thing is, he thinks he's hiding from me. He thinks I don't know it. But when you're in the situation I'm in, when you deal in the circles that I deal in, very little gets by without me knowing about it. So I want to let that person know that not only do I know that you pay close attention to everything I do, I have information that I want to give you that might help you better understand your role and what's going on, so I can help you define your role better for you and the people close to you. Because right now I think you're a bit confused. So this is a hidden type of topic. The only people who are going to understand it are the two people involved. That's me and this one individual. But I'm going to mix it in with this, and it's going to be fun. Pay close attention, and maybe you'll catch on. Maybe you'll see something, and you'll comment about it below. Okay, let me get to the topic of this video. We want to talk about SHTF. Really, right now, that's what it's all about. We're in the prelude, the preface, so to speak, of a story that's unfolding in front of us. And if you think we're through it, or if you think we're deep in it, you're sadly mistaken. We're just getting started, folks. It's going to be a long, hard slog. I took that from somebody else in the past. You might remember it if you're old enough. If you're not old enough, you can look it up. Long, hard slog. So the question I want to ask, getting right off the bat, is: are you fed up with where we are today? Are you fed up with this lockdown and all this other stuff that's going on? Well, if you are, don't you know that's the plan? That's the plan, to get you fed up. And they think right about now, when it's getting really warm outside and people have been locked in their houses for approaching or over 60 days, they feel like you're ready to blow. That's where they want you to be. That's where they expected you to be by now, is ready to blow. And now the next stages of this situation are starting to rear its ugly head. So let me talk about this thing. The thing that's going on today that might shock a lot of people and they might not want to come to grips with is that there are several factions working toward the same end, and they work together very well when they need to. The problem with us, patriots, people who love America, who want to be independent, we don't work very well together. We're all separate, individualists, liberty-seeking people. I want to explain something about the word liberty. A lot of people probably had never thought about. A liberty is something that's granted. A liberty is something that's granted to subjects. Freedom is yours from God, the creator of the universe. So the thing that we seek most is not liberties. What we seek is freedom, true freedom, which is not given by a government or by any man. And to get confused between the two is accepting your role as a subject or understanding that you're a free man and you were born that way. I want to start by saying this before I get to the bulk of what I want to talk about, which is relative information, news sourced information that I'm going to expound on. I'm going to expound on it to give you clarification of where I think we are in the form of an intelligence briefing to you, my subscribers and listeners. Now, one thing I want to let people know is that there are no neutral players in this game, in this contest between those who want to maintain freedom and those who seek to take that freedom away. Did you get that? You can't sit on a fence in this battle. You're either for us or you're against it. You're either for freedom or you are in league with tyranny and evil. So you have to make the choice on where you're going to sit. And I'm going to tell you, the fence sitters, they think they're very smart. It's like you have your Democrats on this side, your Republicans on this side, and somewhere in the middle you have this group of people who like to fashion themselves and call themselves independents. And they think that way they're being the adult in the room and they don't take sides. Well, there's one thing about combat, people. And we are in a war for this country, for what this country is going to be for our children and grandchildren. In a war, there are no neutral sides. If you don't take a side, one will be assigned to you. And I'll tell you how that's done. Well, we all have legacy. The people who are watching this video right now are creating a legacy. The people who voted, they created a legacy for themselves. The people who didn't vote, they're creating a legacy for themselves. Every move and every person you know helps create that legacy. What you wear creates a legacy. What you buy creates a legacy. Everything that you do as a citizen in this country and as a human being makes a legacy for you. And you're going to have to live up to that legacy one day. When people come asking, what were you about? What were you doing when this was going on? That's when your legacy is going to stand for what you've been throughout life. So there's no escape. You better pick a side and it better be the right one. You pick the wrong one, you're going to be in a lot of trouble when the shit gets deep. And it's getting there. And I'll explain what I mean by that. As I cut to the chase with the topic of this discussion, it's going to be on civil conflict. It's going to be on what's really going on behind the scenes while everybody focuses on how much bread and circuses you can muster and hide in your basement or in your storerooms, or how much plant matter you can grow out of the ground, and how much water you can store, and how many weapons you can store and hide around. Sometimes you can't do that and it doesn't pay off. And this is one of those such times. You might not understand what I'm talking about. And let me say this. In this situation, by now, either you get what I'm talking about or you don't. The things that are going on right now, they're spiritual. It's spiritual in nature. And you have a binary choice. Either you get the messages that I give or you don't. Either you understand what I'm talking about or you don't understand it. And it's probably best that you go to one of the larger channels and listen to what they have to say. It's the reason why my channel is kept low. If you look at, I have a video that in one fatal swoop, it got over 20,000 views, just that one. But shortly after that, my videos struggle to get over 100 views. Well, the people who they put down as viewing my videos, they're very lucky to get the information. And if they act on them, they're even luckier. Because I tell you this, if you were paying attention to the things that I was telling you back 6 months and a year ago, then you were ready for this situation. I leave no stone unturned when it comes to preparedness and strategy. You know, some people spend their time in the military, and trust me, I spent well over 10 years learning all the ins and outs about the military instead of partying and drinking and stuff like that. I was in the books. I was studying, I was working out, I was training in military science and military war arts, combat, weaponry, all of those things, history, strategy, logistics, survival. That's what I spent my time doing, up in the mountains of California, Utah, Arizona, all over the place, in the desert, all in the jungles of the Orient and stuff like that. That's what I did with my time. I didn't waste my time doing non-essential things that didn't help me to be a better person, that I could survive if times got hot. And when they did, I shined, and I always have. So if you listen to the things I say, you might learn something that might help you when things get hot for you. This is a public service warning. Pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you, because it's going to be very important to you, possibly soon. You know, sometimes the truth can be ugly. People can't stand to look at things that are hideous. They want to turn away from them and not pay attention to what's going on. Plans and notions and things that go on in the United States today are not something that people want to face. They don't want to think about the fact that there are overlords vying for a spot, governors that want to be in charge of greater parcels of land and take a greater, more significant role in the New World Order. Yeah, I said it. I said it right here, New World Order. Everybody, you'll notice nobody says that in their videos hardly, because they feel like it's the kiss of death on their channel, on their video. Well, I don't worry about that. They've already struck me down and kept me from being a consequential player in this game online. But I still know that I'm reaching people, whether they show them to me or not. In other words, an overlord, a czar, is trying to be in control of not a state, not a city, but a region of a new America that's been broken up and taken out of control of the federal government. So when you see this stuff about convention of states, that can be used as a weapon as well as it can be used as a good thing. So be careful what you wish for, because that convention of states is a secondary way of them getting what they want. They always have multiple ways to do a certain job. So be aware of that. Be aware that the governors are trying to break the United States up so that they can reassign these state and local zones into regions which supersede the existing boundaries of their states. So they gain power and influence while they enslave you and lock you in your house for several hours a day unless you're working or doing an essential task. Keep that in mind. What I just told you is very important. How they intend to bring this new regional governmental system, this decentralized government under the auspices of the New World Order and the Union of uh, Socialist States. They intend to bring it on with racial tension, racial violence, and sectarian violence carried out by the masses, which is you. How will they get you to partake and be a weapon against yourself for them? By baiting. And let me tell you how that's being done right before your eyes right now. And that's the reason for this video that I'm giving to you now. I'm giving you this video as a warning so you can prepare and know not to fall for the hype, not to get caught up in the game, so to speak. If you notice, a couple days ago, maybe 3, 4, 5 days ago, in um, Minneapolis, Minnesota, there was an issue where policemen uh, took down this African American, this black man, and held him down with a knee on his neck, uh, and what appeared to be uh, asphyxiation or cutting off occlusion of blood flow to and oxygen to his brain, causing his death. Now, all I can say is that's what it appeared to be. And I'll tell you what, it's something called agitprop. You can never be sure of what you see. You can't even be sure that you're seeing me right now, but you definitely can't be sure of anything you see. Just think about the things that went on in the hospital with the fake uh, emergencies just recently, in terms of the plague and or the scenes of body bags, or the nurse standing in the middle of the street blocking a so-called patriot who was in a pickup truck with a fuzzy license plate cover, with the sign hanging out and a lady hanging out of the window. And they found out the nurse was fake, the driver was fake, everything was staged. They had a cameraman standing on the side and videotaped the whole thing. Now, the interesting thing about what happened in Minnesota, and I want you to drive this home in your own mind and then tell it to other people to pay attention. Take a look at what you were really seeing. When that video was captured, the vehicle was pointed like in a 45-degree angle with the one policeman standing right next to the, I would say, the driver's side front tire, with the decedent, the alleged decedent, laying right by that front tire. The knee was placed on the back of his neck and he held him down, and supposedly he died at that time. I'm not saying he didn't, because sometimes they use people just like they are used in warfare. And there's expected that there will be casualties and there will be fatalities in a long conflict. So was that what that was, or was it something Trump Deloitte? Was it something you thought you saw, but it really wasn't what you saw? Let me tell you something. That license plate on that police car just happened to have police as a license plate. Now, I know all you guys on this channel are probably very worldly and know a lot about a lot of things. You probably haven't ever seen a police car with the license plate police. But if you go and look at those videos, stop it, and you'll see that the license plate for that particular police car, the license plate number was actually police, letting you know that this was the police, not security or anything like that. It was the police. The other police officer, who was supposedly standing guard, made sure that he didn't block the camera angle to the actual guy that was holding his knee down on the other person. He never stood directly in front of the man who was being harmed. So you could have a good camera angle, like in a movie. You know how movies are made? If you never heard of Operation Mockingbird, then go ahead and take a look at that and understand that agit-prop can take a lot of forms and people can actually be hurt in it, but that still doesn't mean it's not propaganda to kick off a potential action that would lead to a result that the perpetrators would be wanting to happen. So remember that. So we're going to move from there. And we're going to say that everything you see with your eyes are not real. And the purpose would be to inflame violence from what they consider the useless eaters, or the people who are considered non-essentials. Not non-essentials in the workforce, but non-essential in the world of the future. They don't care. You're expendable. You can be used as fodder for their greater gain, their new world. So understand that. Don't be a pawn. Wake up. Be aware of what's going on around you. Check out those videos and let me know in the comments. Did you notice that license plate? Did you notice that police was the license plate number? Usually that's used for a static display. Let me tell you, the New World Order always tells you what they're doing. They always show you if you're wise enough to see it. Because the wise people who see, understand, and survive, they want you to come into the future with them. If you're not smart enough to figure out the game and survive the game, then you don't deserve to be there in the first place. So they will gladly annihilate you and your prodigy. So keep that in mind. With the Minnesota thing, if you pay attention or if you check the news after you watch this video, you will see that several rallies have been set up at key states in blue areas, liberal areas where, or socialist areas, I might say, where they intend to have rallies. Chicago, Detroit, Miami, Houston, Dallas, LA, and other points around the country. And the strange thing about it is all of those areas are the same areas. They're the same areas. Now pay attention to this. They're the exact same areas that are hotspots for the plague that's going around. They're the same areas where most of the casualties have been. So why do you think that is? We'll move on from there, though. So this is what they did. First, they scared the hell out of you. Then they packed you tightly in your homes and in your neighborhoods, not allowing you to leave, except for short periods of time, not being able to have fun and work off steam, relax, keeping you in a state of stress and anger and confusion. Then after they did that, they waited until it got hot. They turned up the flame. It got hot outside. The seasons started changing until the weather warmed up. Then they created agitprop, propaganda, stirred the pot. After stirring the pot, now it's time to set it off. It's time to set it off. Get this party started. So if you didn't see that, then now you know it, because I just told you. I'll leave it right there. Don't be a fool, though. Don't be divided. Don't let people divide you. Don't let those that are the true enemy of your freedoms divide you and conquer you. Strange things. These are quick hitters. There's some strange things that happened months ago. You might have knew about it. You may haven't even seen it yet. But I want you to go look it up and then tell me what you found and what you think about it. Have you ever heard of Fast and Furious? Well, Fast and Furious was a gun running scheme planned by the former DOJ chief, the attorney general from the previous administration. That person ran guns down to the Mexican cartels, and those weapons were ultimately used to kill Americans and Mexican citizens that had nothing to do with the violence. And it was found out, and it was basically brushed under the rug. But these rifles, hundreds of them that I want to tell you about, happened in the United States several months ago when local authorities, after receiving a tip along with members of the ATF and other federal uh, agencies, they found a cache of hundreds of rifles, ammunition, and small arms and other accoutrements, so to speak. They found them in a mansion in Hollywood, California. You can look it up, in a suburb of Los Angeles. A giant mansion full of nothing but weapons. Well, I would like to call that Fast and Furious American style. That's what it was. It was a Fast and Furious operation carried out in the United States. Problem is, those weapons were never handed out. So, what were they being stored for? Could it be such a time as we have now, after the plague has hit and everything is upended in our country? You can see pictures online of all these weapons lined up in truck beds, all lined up across the sidewalk in front of this exclusive mansion. What were those weapons for? They weren't for you. They're not going to give you any weapons. Who are they bringing across the border? Who are they bringing from foreign lands? Who have been living in all kinds of strife and has beef with the United States and its people? Would they be willing to pick up arms if given to them? If they're told you can have whatever you can take in terms of possessions, human capital, and land. Take it, it's yours. That's a good way to get it started, huh? While all this is going on, these elite can sneak away somewhere and wait until it's all over. While you've already weakened yourself from fighting with each other, fighting with the police, who are not your enemy, fighting with our military and National Guard, and fighting with other races and with other religious groups, and whoever, maybe the Poles against the Germans and the this against the that. That is the methodology of the global elite to pit one group against the other. They don't care which. The way they see it, you're all foreign to them. None of you are of their bloodlines, and they care less about you. Now I want to talk about strange video. Strange videos. Have you ever watched online and you saw these guys? Probably a lot of you guys are gun guys, you hunting guys, you watch videos about subject matter such as that. Well, it was this video, and in fact, it's more than one of them you'll see. I'm not going to mention the name of the people who posted it, but you can definitely easily find it. It's like not hog hunting, not pig hunting, but pig shooting. You know, a lot of areas, they have overpopulations of certain animals, pigs and hogs being one of them. razorbacks and things like that. Uh, when they get overpopulated, what they do is they open season, you can go out and shoot as many of them as you can. But most people who hunt animals, they try to do it in the most humane fashion that they possibly can. Well, some of these videos were strange to me when I saw people who are established people with rifles. I've seen them shoot before, shoot still or whatever targets. But when they went out here, the pigs were like sitting in one place. And the people that were shooting at them purposely missed the pig. They shot around the pigs and caused the pigs to panic. Now, this is kind of a metaphor. When the pigs panic, they start running in all directions. And this afforded the shooter a different opportunity to shoot at these pigs while they were moving targets, panicked, running, trying to run for cover. Are you seeing what I'm saying to you? It's a certain kind of practice that otherwise you wouldn't get. Who are these people making these videos? And what are their future plans? I mean, training like that is hard to get. You know, maybe 20, 30 pigs and they're all running wild and crazy trying to get away, not get shot. And it's somebody with the AK-47 or AR-15 with a scope and is shooting, leading these pigs and shooting them and panicking them in a different direction and shooting them again. What does this tell you as a prepper, as a former military person, as a law enforcement officer? What are they doing here? What kind of practice is this? What is this practice for? Look on YouTube, find those videos. Tell me what you think below. Or don't. That's up to you. Man, this is what I do. I give you information. What you do with it is your own business. Just don't get in a panic and start running. Understand? Now, I want to end this video by telling you this. I've given you an intelligence report. The choice to accept it and spread the word about what I told you in this video is yours alone. But keep this in mind. It's a binary choice. Either you do or you don't. Either way, the conclusion is probably going to be the same no matter what you do. But whether you're prepared for it and whether the people you know, if you have a group, whether they are prepared for it is another story. Remember, it's a binary choice. Either you get it or you don't. This is SADT. I'm out.